So I guess I should call these Capricorn tigerisms, right? So these are the wisdom of Capricorn tigers here. But one of the things that I wanted to say is I don't have a lot of friends. I never did make a lot of friends in this lifetime. I made some lifelong friends that I've known almost my whole life. But I wouldn't say we're close like some friends are. Like some friends are really close to each other, and I've lived with friends before. Like my friend Janet, I lived with her for a while. She took me in. I had a cousin, Lisa, that took me in, and I lived with her for a while. I mean, I was lucky when it came to raising my daughter. I had people there to help me get things, get her through. But, I've never been the type that had a lot of hanger-ons, if you know what I mean. Some people have a lot of hanger-ons. Like, there was a point in my brother Kevin's life where he had a lot of hanger-ons. Just a lot of friends, just a lot of people that hung around him. I've been involved in things like business and projects and say Facebook groups and stuff like that, where I've been involved with thousands and thousands of people, but I wouldn't say, like close friends. In fact, one of the groups that I'm an admin of, believe it or not, there's 26,000 women in a group, and I'm friends with like 400. It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how to get them to friend me, but it just doesn't work. Now, is that because of anything I'm doing? I don't know. I don't know what it is I'm doing. But I do know that I was born with Saturn in Aquarius in the first house. And Saturn restricts. Aquarius is friends. The first house is my personality. So my personality kind of, I guess, might be a hindrance to me getting lots of friends. I don't know. I do know I do have really high boundaries, and I tend to stick to them. Some people don't. They bend their boundaries a lot. But once I see that I've been disrespected in a certain way, whether it's a relationship or a friendship, I'll cut that off in a weird way, like I've blocked friends. There was a girl I knew, she was at my daughter's baby shower, but when my husband and I went through our problems, in her weirdness decided to fend with that guy. And I didn't need that in my life. I didn't need whatever that was. I had always experienced that with that one girl. She's a Sagittarius. I'm a Capricorn. So she was a Capricorn, but she had her moon and I think her rising in Sagittarius, which I had always kept it at bay because as an astrologer, I knew she had some 12th house issues. And what do I mean by 12th house issues? Well, whenever there's any 12th house issues, you're dealing with the potential for hidden enemies. They don't even understand. They might not be aware that they have this hidden animosity toward you. But 12th house emphasis is a sign of a hidden enemy. So if you find that someone has their sun or moon or ascendant in your 12th house, you have to be really cautious because there is the potential for that person to become a hidden enemy. And I say hidden because the 12th house rules hidden enemies. They're secret enemies. They do things to thwart you from behind in the darkness without you realizing you're being thwarted. So that's different than an open enemy. And open enemies can be found in the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of other people, but it's also the house that shows open, obvious enemies. A lot of times it's the marriage partner. That's why divorces are so horrific sometimes, because the person that you were married to is your biggest enemy. And so that happens, and it's horrific, and some marriages are so bad when they end. But I have Mars there in the 7th house and my North Node. So my whole lesson in life was to come and learn about partnerships and enemies and marriage. And I've been married 3 times. Unsuccessfully. So I didn't learn much, I don't think. I think I learned about myself and how I contributed to the ends of marriage. And I also learned about my boundaries, what I want, what I don't, what I will tolerate, what I won't tolerate, why I won't tolerate it. You know, all those things that you have to learn if you're to live with another person successfully for any length of time. Because if you don't know certain things, like what you cannot stand, if you can't get to a point where you know what you cannot tolerate, what you cannot stand, because when you get into the marriage, you'll realize exactly what that is. It'll most likely be the thing they're doing. And it will drive you up the wall. It'll drive you crazy, because it'll be something that'll just make you snap one day. And I'll now tell my own personal story, and I don't know if my ex watches anything I do online. But it's hilarious, because it's the stupidest things that end marriages, right? But I wear a little bonnet in the house, because, you know, when I don't have my hair done, I don't like just running around with my hair all out. So I like to have a bonnet, some kind of protective style or something. So I have one little bonnet that I always wear, and I still, to this day, I always wear it. It's like a daily thing. I have a nightcap that literally looks like a nightcap that hangs down to here, and then I have a little black cap that I wear around when I'm not in my blonde wigs. And I have multiple blonde wigs. So if someone's to be with me, they have to realize they're marrying a woman with a whole lot of blonde wigs. That's number one. But the other thing is that I know my things. I'm very picky about my stuff because, well, I have a Taurus moon. And what got me was the guy I was married to had a Taurus moon too. He was a Taurus. With a Taurus moon. He had a Taurus stellium. But his stellium was in the 12th house. That means my moon, my needs were in his 12th house. He didn't give a ish about my needs. His sun sat on my moon anyway. He was going to squash my needs regardless. But he really didn't give an ish about my needs. I think his Mars, he had everything there. Like his Mars, his Venus, his Mercury, Sun. I should have knew it was a problem because it was in his 12th house, not mine. It was in my 4th house, which that's a lot of water. That's a lot of unspoken tension, emotion, and with someone who's hiding. It was someone who let a lot of that just build up. And so there were little things that were coming out that I think were purposely done, like to hurt, right? But they don't realize they're doing it because, you know, especially 12 housers. I've got my sun on a cusp of the ascendant, but it's technically in the 12th house. So I'm really cautious because I realize I've got hidden patterns myself. And one of my hidden patterns popped out because I had asked him to do the laundry. I understand his frustration, right? Because he had come all the way from England. I was upstairs. I asked him to do the laundry, and he probably was angry because he came all the way to see me, and I had asked him to do the laundry, and that probably bothered him. I was having some kind of leg problem at the time. And I just thought that he wouldn't mind. He was going up and down the stairs for cigarettes. And it was really hard for me to go up and down the stairs, but very easy for him. So I thought it wouldn't mind. He did take him down, but when he came back, my bonnet wasn't there. And I realized I had an attachment to the bonnet. And I started to panic. And I started to get weird because I couldn't find the bonnet. And I asked him about it, and he was so nonchalant about it, like it didn't matter. And I lost it. I did, because I'm like, if I was doing your laundry and I took down something of yours, but I didn't bring it back, wouldn't you be upset about that? And so I asked him to go back down and retrace his steps and find it. It had to be between my apartment and down in the washroom. It doesn't just disappear. So at first, I guess he wasn't going to do it, but I lost him. I was screaming. I was screaming. I will not lie. It was just so mean to me. Because obviously it was somewhere between the washer and the apartment. Where else could it be? It was one little thing. Just go get it. It's either still in the washing machine, near the washing machine, on the stairs, somewhere. So anyway, after getting into a huge argument with me about not getting it, because, Taurus is stubborn, remember? It was too simple to just go back and get it. They're stubborn. So after that big argument, and I've got my Taurus moons, I wasn't budging. And I've got my Venus in Scorpio opposing all that Taurus. I wasn't budging. I mean, for me, what I look like, what I walk around in, my possessions mean a lot to me. So he went down, he found it, and brought it back. And I could tell when he brought it back, he was angry, and he had said something like, when I yelled at him, or when I yelled at him, and he had said something like, to the effect like I would hit him or something. I don't know, something weird. And I'm like, I got so mad because I'll admit I did something when my daughter was little. I had picked up a knife against my first husband, but my first husband had molested my daughter, and at the time he was openly being hostile to me. I didn't see any of that going on in our situation. I raised my voice because I wanted to get something done. It's a whole different type of anger than if you're in a defensive situation or you're actually in a battle. I wasn't in a battle, I was just upset. And I think what bothered me about it is maybe there was something weird that he did. Maybe he did purposely leave it, throw it away. I don't know what happened. I think when it got called out, I think that's what the problem was. But I never did understand the level of frustration or anger about just going back and picking it up and bringing it in. And that's what I think ended our marriage. One, he saw an ugly part of me because I was stunned, actually, that he was so adamant about not going down to go look for it. Like, it had to be between the laundry and the apartment. I mean, unless you went somewhere else with the laundry, where else could it possibly be? And here it is, almost 8 years later, probably 8 years later, from the time that argument happened, and I still have that black silk cap. I still wear that around the house. That's how important my stuff is. I keep stuff for a million years. I got a Taurus moon. But I knew that was part, when there's something you wear every day, imagine losing something you wear every day, though. And here it is 8 years later, and it's still something I wear every day. So weird when I think about it now. Like, wow. It was probably something that just didn't mean anything to that person at all. Maybe something they didn't want me to wear. But they didn't have the courage to say, don't wear that in front of me. And I always said that one of the things that ruined my marriage is that I wore a cap, a bonnet in my marriage. I don't think women should wear bonnets around their husbands. I mean, unless it's actually night and you're going to bed. But I have a nightcap. I think I do it now because I'm alone. I wear whatever I want when I'm alone. But I think in that marriage, I learned that I don't think I would ever wear a bonnet in front of another husband. It's something, I just feel like men, even though they don't say it, they always want you to be a certain way. I think it does something to a man when they see you looking slovenly, or, you're not yourself, or you're not got your makeup on, or you don't have your hair taken care of, or whatever it is. And I think I just got too comfortable. We both had Taurus moons. He had a Taurus sun. He had a lot of Taurus. It's all in his 12th house. And I didn't realize that by just being myself, that was probably a turnoff for him. After all, my Venus is in Scorpio, the opposite of all that Taurus. So it caused a problem. And it's so weird that it was over a bonnet. Anyway, I forget why I even told that story, but I think it had something to do with, 7th house partnerships, hidden or open enemies. Our marriage partners are, in most cases, are open enemies. Like you have to have a lot of faith and belief in your significant other in order to sleep. I remember once, and this scares me now that I think back on it, my last husband had said to me, wow, you sleep so soundly, you must be really secure in our marriage, or something. It's like you sleep so soundly, you must be really secure in us, or something like that. And now that I know that he left me the way he did, like he just kind of disappeared, that scares the bejesus out of me. Like I could have been sleeping with the enemy and didn't realize it. Like I feel like I might have been in danger and some type of detriment, and I had no clue that I was in danger. I could have been there is, okay, I'm gonna tell this one last story. Why am I telling all my business? This is that 7th house, that open enemy. But I can say this: the last time my last husband was here, from England, before we separated, I remember we had all went out to dinner and drinks somewhere. I can't remember if my daughter was performing, but I remember there were drinks, and I remember getting drunk, a little bit tipsy, but not to the extent that I felt should have been that tipsy yet. 1 or 2 drinks. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's why I feel like I got roofied or something. Okay, because I can do far more than 1 or 2 drinks. I mean, that was weird. Anyway, when I woke up the next day, or when I got home, they woke me up. I was sitting in a chair. I had cake on my face, on my clothes, and they said I had passed out, and they had gotten me home, and I was sitting in the chair. Now, after I got undressed and, I woke up the next day, there were dark bruises between my thighs. Now, I don't know how I got them. I don't know where they came from. I don't know if anything happened to me when I was in the facility that we were at. To this day, my daughter and I think my husband did something to me. We will never know. I'm glad I wasn't really conscious for it, because the bruises lasted for weeks. Whatever happened to me? I don't know if I did something when I was drunk. What would it be that I had done? I mean, did I get... I checked just because I thought maybe I got raped when we were out. And I checked with my daughter and I'm like, did you guys lose me for any length of time? Did anything happen? And she's like, everywhere you went, he went. So you went to the bathroom, he went with you, or something like that. And I'm like, it must have been something I think he did. Most likely without my consent, because I don't remember. Anyway, a lot of women don't realize that they're sleeping with the enemy, or that the seventh house, the marriage partner, can be the worst enemy, because you've given them full access to you in your most vulnerable moments. At that time, I wanted my husband everywhere with me because I thought he was my protection, that I was safer in the presence of my husband. But what if that wasn't true? So I wanted to share just some about this. It's interesting, right? I feel like I should make a book about it. It's kind of interesting. But the 12th house, secret enemies, 7th house, open enemies. I've got Mars in Leo in the 12th or 7th house. Mars and Leo square everything of his. My marriage was doomed to fail. I just didn't realize it because I was in love and silly. But astrological details like that don't lie. It was just too many squares from his 12th house. His self-undoing had really nothing to do with me, but it might have been my demise. And I'll just end with this as I end the story about the 7th house here, because this ended up becoming a story about the 7th house at the end of it all. But I had saw a psychic before, about a year before things ended, our marriage. And they had told me that my husband was going to kill me if he was going to unalive me. And I never really took it serious until that moment, I think, when he had last been there. And I think it's one of the things that really kind of sat in the back of my mind. And it was one of the things that made me grateful that he ended the marriage. Because if someone does secretly harbor that, whatever that negativity is that made him leave the marriage, and you don't know about it, you don't know that guy's planning on leaving the marriage or whatever they're doing. You're living with the enemy. You don't know. How long was I in the presence of the enemy and didn't know? I don't know what he was doing when he was in England. Who knows? I could have been in the presence of the enemy the whole time and did not know. So the 7th house, in my opinion, is the most dangerous house. It's the opposite of you, your personality. It's your opposite. Now, if it's a good, positive opposite, it balances out, right? That Libra energy. But if it's the wrong partner and it doesn't balance out, it can be frightening. Absolutely, horrifically frightening. So, that is my warning as an astrologer, to always check the aspects to your 7th house. Always check and be cautious about anyone with a lot of emphasis in the 12th house of stellium like that. They're their own worst enemy, but they're most likely going to end up being your worst enemy as well. Anyway, this has been Adrian, Capricorn Tigress, of Astrology, A Look Inside. Much love, much light. and many blessings.